Well, good afternoon. It's Monday in Holy Week, and probably, well, the most unusual Holy Week, at least I hope the most unusual Holy Week I've ever had in the course of my lifetime. Hopefully things will get a bit more back to normal next year. And of course we remain in prayer for all those who are currently really struggling at this time, whether it's with their health, their finances, their families, their employment, all sorts of difficult problems that we come in touch with. Well, today I'd like to think about what we're going to do in Holy Week as a form of devotional prayer. And sometimes it's good for us to have a bit of a structure. And the structure that I'm going to think about us using today is the structure of the Rosary. Now, the Rosary is not just, as we might think, a prayer for Roman Catholic Christians. It's a prayer that can be used by all Christians. It's a prayer that unites us very closely to Mary, Mother of our Lord Jesus Christ. And it's one of those gifts and one of those devotions that rehearses a lot of the story of our salvation. And it's very important sometimes that we really reflect on these key biblical passages, help improve our biblical knowledge, help improve our devotional life. So it's a winner all the way round. So I'm going to think a little bit about that this afternoon. Well, what do you need when you pray the Rosary? Well, first of all, excuse my back for a moment, you're going to need some of these. These are rosary beads. Now, my advice if you buy a set of rosary beads is you want to buy a set that are pretty robust. You get lots of lovely little ornate ones that you see sold in shops, but they don't really last because if you're praying with them and using them regularly, the different little flimsy things come undone. So this is a set of rosary beads that I've had for some years. It's a reasonably robust set. You can even get a company online that sells what they call extra strong rosary beads. I don't think they're anything like extra strong mints, but they are very robust and they will stand being shoved in your pocket and pulled around in various other different forms of things. So you have on the rosary the beads. The beads match the devotions. The rosary will always have a cross or a crucifix on the end, and it will have 5 decades of beads, and it will have 5 at the beginning for the opening prayers. Now, the Rosary is quite an interesting history, and that history is an important one because it's actually got a very evangelical history in a sense, because it's about recalling people to the faith. And allegedly, and of course these things are always lost in legend because we're never quite sure because we weren't there, allegedly it was a devotion that was brought about by St. Dominic, and St. Dominic brought that devotion about because he wanted to recall sinners to faith. And of course the best way you can recall people to faith is get them to rehearse the story of the salvation, which he did through key biblical passages and rhythmic prayer. Because of course the wonderful thing about the Rosary is we can reflect on it, but it's actually laid out for us, and that's pretty important. Now, of course, it's one of the most cherished prayers of the Roman Catholic Church, but a good prayer that can be used by all of us. It gives us lots of solid things. It gives us the Creed, the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Doxology, the Glory Be, concluding with the Salve Regina. And it involves us in lots and lots of rhythmic praying. So the words that we hear, they go deep into our consciousness and they embed themselves in us and they form us as Christians. And as Christians, our formation in faith is something that's of vital importance. So it's a very, very useful and a very good devotion, and one I commend to you. There are various different mysteries that can be prayed, and I've got little booklets on how to pray the Rosary. I can email them out to you. If you send me your email contacts, I can give you a guide to praying the Rosary and how you are to do so. So I'll go through some of the devotional aids that have been produced that we can use. We've got a very, very simple guide, how to pray the Rosary. I don't know how well you can see that on the camera. That's a very simple guide. It includes all the prayers that you'll need. All the prayers are there, given and set out for you. And then we go through the different mysteries of the Rosary. Well, again, I have a booklet on each of the mysteries. Not that easy to see as we don't have top-notch camera equipment, but you've got the joyful mysteries, which you can see there. You've got the sorrowful mysteries, and those are the mysteries that we'll be concentrating on this week, which are basically the story of Holy Week. We've got the glorious mysteries, which we'll focus on a little bit about next week, the stories that are about resurrection. And then we've got the last set of mysteries, which are ones that were written comparatively recently, the luminous mysteries that speak to us about the light that we find in the Gospels. And these are the different events in Jesus' life. And the luminous mysteries are the ones really that are probably most closely aligned to the sacraments and to some of the miracles. So that's a basic outline of what the Rosary is about and how we are called to pray it. As I said, it's a medieval devotion allegedly brought about by St. Dominic to convert people back to faith, to encourage those who'd lapsed to come back. And this week in Holy Week, when we're left in a situation where we are largely left to our own resources, and the only thing we've got access to is our own personal prayer and various different bits and pieces online, it's good that we can have this opportunity to pray and to share in that devotion together. So, as I say, if you would like any of those leaflets, please message me your email address. I will send them all to you, and you can print them out and have a look at them. If you don't have a rosary, then you'll have to be inventive and try online to see if you can get one. And if you want to persist with the devotion afterwards, I'm sure that when Markham Abbey reopens, I will gladly sell you a rosary from our shop. So, on this Monday of Holy Week, may God's blessing be with you. If you're returning to the Rosary after not having said it for a number of years, good luck with that. If it's a new devotion for you, please be persistent. Continue and allow it to embed into your mind and into your heart and help form you as a Christian and develop you further along your Christian journey. So may God's blessing be upon you this day in these unusual circumstances. And let's keep a moment of silence as we reflect on all those in the world who are currently struggling. So may God's grace be with you all this afternoon as we journey through this Holy Week. May his strength be with us and offer us consolation. And may we, as we reflect on the sorrowful mysteries and the passion of our Lord, remember, of course, that on Easter Day we celebrate a glorious resurrection, the ultimate blessing, as God interacts with humanity and shows us there is always hope. As always, to God be the glory.